Back in the day, not so long ago, just over 100 years, for hundreds of years in Aleppo, the Jews of Aleppo would wake up. There would be a knock on the door and people would get up at midnight. They would all gather towards the synagogue, come to the synagogue at midnight, sit down on the floor and mourn over the destruction of the temple. We are at that stage now, the 3 weeks, the 17th of Tammuz on the one hand and the Tisha B'Av on the other. And 3 tough weeks in which there's a lot of mourning, there's a lot of mourning over the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash and the lack of godliness in our world. We want to prepare ourselves for these 3 weeks. What are the halachot? What are the laws of these 3 weeks? There are many different customs. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty and let's understand what we're talking about. 3 weeks are as follows. During the 3 weeks between the 17th of Tammuz and the Tisha B'Av, there are no marriages, no weddings occur. The minhag, the custom is not to get married. It's a tough time. During these 3 weeks, we do not listen to any music. There's no partying, there's no music in the car and very excitement. The reason is because we need to double down on our simcha. We need to understand that we can't be happy in this world if HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if God Almighty doesn't have His place in this world. So what do we do when there's no weddings, there's no music, there's no musical instrument? If somebody plays a musical instrument as a living, for their living, then they should ask the rabbi what to do. When it comes to Shabbat, we are allowed to sing. Motzei Shabbat, Erev Shabbat, we're allowed to sing, but there's no dancing and there's no musical instruments. A nursery teacher, young kids, they need to be relaxed. It's not a music of excitement, rather it's a music to relax the children. That is permitted during the 3 weeks. What about meat and wine? Meat and wine for the 3 weeks is as follows. The 9 days we desist from meat and wine. Only on Shabbat we have meat and wine because in honor of Shabbat. But for the rest of the time, from the 17th of Tammuz until the 9 days, until Rosh Chodesh, we're allowed to have meat and we're allowed to have wine during the week. From Rosh Chodesh Av until Tisha B'Av, there is no meat and there is no wine that is consumed because meat and wine represent simcha. What about Rosh Chodesh itself? So the Sephardim, they allow to have meat and wine on Rosh Chodesh, whereas the Ashkenazim do not permit to have meat and wine on Rosh Chodesh Av. It's very important to know, nowadays we live in a nice society, but in the olden days, the teacher would potentially hit a child or a father or a mother. Hitting at this time is not permitted. At any time it's not permitted, but it's a very dangerous time, so we keep away from danger. We make sure that the fences are up in the houses, on the roofs, on the balconies, and we also desist from any dangerous activities. Our rabbis tell us between the 4th and 9th hour not to go out by yourself, not to go between the tzel and the chama, between the shade and the sun. What about swimming? So trips and swimming. It's good to refrain from swimming the entire period, but if you want to go swimming and you need to go swimming or for certain camps, so long as there's a lifeguard, etc., that's allowed up until the 9 days. From the 9 days, there's different customs. Then we make sure from Rosh Chodesh Av there is no swimming whatsoever. But Ben Zion Abba Shaul says, up to Shavua Shakal Bo, you can go swimming. Buying something new, shechianu, making a shechianu, a new fruit, a new suit. Can you make a shechianu during this time? It's such a sad time. The time is sad. We do not make any shechianu during this time. What about on Shabbat? Differing opinions. According to some Sephardim that follow Rabbi Vadia, we can make a bracha shechianu on a Shabbat. Others following the other Sephardim custom and the Ashkenazim is not to make a shechianu even on Shabbat. A person who is pregnant, a woman that's pregnant and she's craving a new fruit, or a sick person who needs to eat a new fruit, they are allowed to eat a new fruit and even to make a shechianu on that. There's one time that we do make the bracha shechianu, that's in a pidyon haben or a brit milah. There's a mitzvah that its time is on that time, and it's a mitzvah that's going to pass by. The 8th day is during the 3 weeks. then we were going to be making a shechianu at that time. What about cutting hair? For 3 weeks, we don't cut hair according to the Arizal. According to the Ashkenazim, 3 weeks, also no cutting of the hair. The Sephardim that don't follow the Arizal allow cutting the hair up to the week of Tisha B'Av. If Tisha B'Av falls on a Wednesday, for example, the week of Tisha B'Av means from the Shabbat, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But the Friday before and beforehand, we are allowed to have a haircut. There are 3 haftarot that are read over these 3 Shabbatot. The first is Divrei Yirmiyahu, the words of Jeremiah. Here the words of God is the second one, and the third one is the vision of Yeshaya, Chazon Yeshaya. These 3 haftarot are special haftarot and are read throughout the communities, representing the 3 weeks. If you look very carefully, you'll see it starts with the Devarim, the words, and then it continues. The second week is to hear, and the third week is vision. You have words, hearing, and vision. These are the 3 things that we need to concentrate during this time and improve, and that will help to bring the Geulah. What about Rosh Chodesh Av and onwards? Mishenichnas Av, mema'atim b'simcha. When Av comes, we have to reduce our simcha. A Jew who has a court case against a Gentile should try to avoid having it during the month of Av, for this is bad luck, and our rabbis explained this doesn't mean the whole month of Av. From Tu B'Av already things are getting better. Building, we minimize rejoicing from the beginning of Av, and that includes also building for happy events or for luxury. But if a family is overcrowded and you need to have that building, then you're allowed to have the building works. Ideally, if you contract a builder for painting, etc., to beautify your house, you want to stop them during these 9 days and continue afterwards. A person should not plant new trees during this time, and we minimize business from the beginning of Av. Some are strict about all businesses and prohibit buying clothes and for happy purposes, such as buying a bridal suit, the bride and the groom suit, the bride dress. This shouldn't be done during these 9 days. All clothing that one wishes, if you're going to make a bracha of shechianu, we mentioned before, you shouldn't be doing that. Meat and wine, we don't have the meat and wine during these 9 days. Something which is parav, but it's got the taste of meat, that we are allowed to have. A suda mitzvah, again, if there's a brit milah, or there's a suda in which there is a mitzvah, then all those that are associated with the event can have meat and wine. This includes parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, children, etc. And another 10 people, according to Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, 10 friends who normally participate in this happy occasion. Others maintain that even in a Brit Milah, we're happy, but we're going to be okay with milky stuff and everything will be okay. According to the Rama, one may eat meat at the Siyum Masechet. Person finishes a Masechta of Shas, a Gemara, Kedushin, and they want to make a Siyum during the 9 days. Can we have meat? The Rama says yes, even if one normally wouldn't have attended it, as long as the one completing the tractate invites no more than 10 people, those people can participate as well. According to Rabbi Yaakov Emden, one may invite more than 10 people. And women who are close family may also be invited to the Siyum. Those who customarily taste on Shabbat, Erev Shabbat, can you taste the chicken, the meat on Erev Shabbat of Shabbat Chazon after the Rosh Chodesh Av? The answer is yes. We're allowed to taste the food on Erev Shabbat. The Ben Ish Chai brings a custom not to eat meat even at Su'udat Mitzvah, since it's difficult to minimize the number of guests, and instead he says it's better to serve the fish and the like. What about leftover meals? Saturday night, Motzei Shabbat, in the 9 days, you're not eating on a Sunday and a Monday, Tuesday, Saturday night. Can you have the leftover chulent, the leftover meat, or not? So leftover meat from Shabbat, or even from Rosh Chodesh, may be eaten at the 4th meal at the Melava Malka, Motzei Shabbat. Ashkenazim, they do not allow, they prohibit eating the leftover meat at the 4th meal. Wine for Havdalah, the Sephardic custom is to have the wine to drink the wine. The Ashkenazi custom is to give it to a child to drink, but if there's no child available, then the person who made Havdalah actually can drink himself. There's no sewing. We don't give to tailors to do work during these 9 days. And we don't buy any new clothes during the week in which the 9th of Av falls. Cutting hair, we've mentioned. Adults may not cut the hair of children. If a person wants to make the Birkat HaLavana, the blessing of the new moon, is normally done after Tisha B'Av. During the week, so we move from Shavai Seba Tammuz to Rosh Chodesh Av, we go up a level. After Rosh Chodesh Av, we go up another level when it comes to the week of Tisha B'Av. That is called Shavua Shechal Bo, Tisha B'Av, the week in which Tisha B'Av falls. During that week, we make sure that there is no washing of clothes. We're in mourning, it's a tough time. So make sure you do all the washing beforehand. If a person wants to wear something during that week, it has to have been worn already before, potentially once, or trampled on, and it's not clean and new and fresh. Ironing is also prohibited like washing. Of course, there's leniencies when it comes to young children and the diapers, etc., of washing their clothes for healthy reasons. Minhag is on the Shabbat, is to wear fresh clothes on the Shabbat. According to the Rama, one should not wear freshly laundered clothes on the Shabbat. The Ashkenazim follow this idea, whereas the Sephardim are wearing fresh clothes on Shabbat, and can even on the Friday night wear one shirt. And if you haven't prepared for the week, you can wear on Saturday and Shabbat morning another shirt, and for Suda Shlishit another shirt, and use the 3 shirts, so to speak, during that week. We do not wash our whole body during the week of the 9th of Av. Already there is a custom from some Ashkenazim for the whole 9 days. The Sephardim is from the week of Shavua Shechal Bo. We don't have any showers, etc. Some have the custom to be able to wash with cold water, especially if it's very, very hot, and we want to get rid of the zeah, rid of the sweat. We are allowed to wash to get rid of the sweat, but not in order to have simcha and to feel fresh and etc. Okay, let's stop here.